it's so crazy. Like jazz in itself, like it was so crazy to learn from female wrestlers because they know a lot about like the little stuff that you probably wouldn't think of, like the gear, like what you wear, like under your
Really?
gear, over your gear, like where to get your gear, how to order your gear, like stuff like that. Like you like because you're so focused about the wrestling, but you also like need to focus about everything, be marketable. That was one thing Thunder said, be marketable. So you have to worry about like not just wrestling, but your promos, your look, your
Mhm.
makeup, your gear. Always make sure you're ready for TV, like have TV ready gear. So it was just like, Pops who taught me like the basics of wrestling and wrestling itself, but they really like took it to another level.
Welcome to another episode of the Project Get to Know podcast. My name is Emmanuel, and if you wandered into this episode, whether it's shared by our guest this week or if the algorithms of your streaming platform of choice winds up in your feed, you know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, follow on these streaming platforms. And we have someone top tier in our program this week. We have Jazmine Allure here on the program. Welcome to this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Jazmine, because growing up in Mexico, of course, lucha libre is more of a prevalent scene. But for you as a kid growing up, was it lucha libre first? Was it WWE first? Or it's a mixture of
It was for sure WWE first. I remember seeing
okay.
Trish Stratus, and that was like I was like 5, 6,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just killing it. She was like women's champion for like a year, so it was definitely WWE and a little bit of lucha libre, but not too much. My parents did grow up like watching CMLL, but honestly, for me, it was just mainly like WWE until much later on.
Because your dad took you to CML. Was that later in life?
Yeah, I
The just
was
as a
19.
viewer.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
19. So I really didn't watch Lucha Libre until like much older. It was just mainly WWE. But yeah, he took me to like he had taken me to WWE shows as well, but he didn't take me to
Okay.
like CMLL till I was like 19.
Do you remember the card? Or you're like, I'm just here.
Yeah, I don't remember the card at all, but like I was like so happy to be there, and like my whole family was there. Like I had cousins, uncles, they were all there, and we were just having such a good time. And I was like, I definitely want to do this. Like that's like what made me realize like I wanted to train. I was like, I could definitely do this. Like this is like I've been watching wrestling since I was little, and my family's really into it, and I
Yeah.
just was like very lost. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was in college, but I wasn't like really sure what I wanted to do. And then I went to CMLL, saw the wrestling, and I was like, oh, like this is it.
Was your family like a good smattering of Lucha Libre and WWE? Even though you're just in that show in particular in CML, were they just like big WWE fans, or there a mix of like Lucha Libre and what's going on in the
So my dad and my brother, like my mom, like my close family, they're like WWE fans, but
Oh,
we're like Lucha Libre, like they love watching AAA, CMLL. They go to like indies in Mexico as well. So like they're into all of it.
because it's funny you mentioned college, and we're going to hit AAPW because that's probably, and this is a Texas centric podcast. And I read a story that you gave up some of your college money to train. Like,
Mhm.
run us through how did you get to AAPW? Because there's so many wrestling schools here in Texas. Why is AAPW such a special place to start your training as a wrestler?
So after the CMLO show, I was like, I want to do this. I literally just Googled wrestling school in Austin, and that was the first one to show up. At that time, that was the only school here in Austin. Um,
Yeah.
Now there's like Rhodes, but at that time, that was like the only one. So I was like, okay, well, I was going to school in Austin, and I had financial aid money, scholarship money. So I
So
was
you
like,
just switched. You're like, all right, switch pockets. Here's wrestling school. Is that
yeah,
what?
I literally walked in. I was like, I don't care how much it is. Like, I'm gonna sign up. Like, I literally remember like Googling it on like Friday and then showing up Monday, and then Wednesday I was like already like in training. Like it was super fast. I remember I got my shoes like at a like local like sports store, and they were used, and they literally
Mhm.
broke the first week because they were so used from like the
Wow.
person. And I still have it. I literally still have it because they have a hole, and I'm just like, this will be like a cool thing later on. I still have like my first wrestling shoes that were used. I remember I would take 3 buses to get to AAPW because I didn't have a car.
Really?
Yeah, I literally would transfer like twice and like walk from the gas station to AAPW until they were like, "Oh, if you need a ride," like Austin James, he
Mhm.
he would give me a ride. A couple other people gave me rides because like I didn't have a car for like my first 6 months of training. But yes,
It's
so I
like,
Googled
yeah, okay.
it. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, it was the first one I Googled. I showed up. I fell in love with it right away. You know, Pops was very welcoming. Papa Don, he's the head trainer there, and honestly, yeah, the rest is history.
Is I think this is what I've learned because I ring announced for quite some time. And then Pops pitched me this idea: you have the voice, you can do it. What was his pitch to you?
I don't even know if I can say it.
Keep it vague. You
Um,
can keep it really vague. You don't have to be like specifics, but like what was like the one encompassing idea that Pops pitched to you that made you switch to APW? Like when you started to like really know the ins and outs of the business.
oh man, that's like so hard. There's so many things. I will say my first gimmick, like my first match, and I hope nobody remembers this, but I was a princess.
It's gonna show up somehow.
I was like a princess. I came out in a tiara. I was like
Oh, that's pretty cool. I would have enjoyed that.
I did not like it. And honestly, like he was one of the people that came up with Jazmine Allure because like my name
Ah,
itself, like Jasmine's my name. So I definitely wanted that. It's my middle name. But I didn't, he was like, you need a last name, you need a last name. You're debuting this weekend. And I was like, oh my God, like it was also like 6 months into training, so it was like really fast.
right.
And he like I think people were just like saying last names, and Jazmine Allure stuck in his head, and he was like, that's what you are. And I remember I hated it. I hated it so much. I
Oh,
was like, I'm gonna change it. I hate the princess. I hate Jazmine Allure. But
yeah.
it all worked out, honestly. Like shout out to him.
Because that's it's kind of nice. Because I think like I with because you took it in stride. Because oftentimes I see some people who are training and they're kind of hesitant. You were ready on the get go. Like there were some moments where you wanted to try and move like right off the bat, but like Pops or Law or Warsaw was like slow down. Like how eager were you to jump into training within those few months over at AEW?
Oh, super eager. Yeah, Pops had to tell me like slow down a bunch of times because I think like my first weekend I was doing Ranas off the top. Like the
Wait,
leader run. Like, no, I'm not even
wow,
kidding. And I was like
wow.
I remember like I was practicing it with somebody, and I just like went for it. Like, and it worked out. Like they're literally like, "Hey, can you do this?" And then I got on the top, and I just like went for it. And it worked out. And then Pops just comes to me, and he's like, that's good. Learn how to wrestle, which
Ah,
is true. Like, which is true. Like,
I'm
you need to
laughing
learn.
because it was.
It's very true. But I was just like so excited to be in there and do all this stuff. Like, it took me forever, like, to learn how to bump, and I was like doing all these crazy lucha stuff. And I look back at it now, and I'm like, he was so right. But I
Mhm.
guess you don't know it at the time because you're just so eager to learn and so eager to like do all the stuff you saw on TV. But I'm so glad that he was there to like slow me down and like really teach me the basics.
Because I was thinking, because Pops will always say this: slow down, hit him, go in the middle. What was some of those advice that Pops gave you as you really got to know the basics and foundations of a wrestling match should be?
I think the main one was like slow down, but he always had these talks after training that really just motivated me. It was about like everything, you know, like once you make it to TV, how we're no different from the ones on TV because, you know, like It's a lot about luck, obviously hard work. Oh, one thing he would say is hard work pays off. So there's like so many like little things he would say that just like stuck with me. I don't know if like you heard him, but he says like put attention and focus, which is put attention and
Yep.
focus.
Yep.
So I like say that sometimes like in training. I just like put attention and focus, and focus type. So there's a lot of stuff that like will stay in my brain.
Because I think the way that Pops does it is, and I think it goes back to just honing in and having repetition in training. How did that really like stuck with you? Because you went off with a Rana right off the bat, but for Pops to drill after drill after drill, spot after spot, how did that really shape you to become a wrestler gradually as you started to really understand the ropes of wrestling?
So one thing about him, he really focuses on like the basics, and just repetition of the basics. I remember he even did like an extra beginners class and he was like, you guys have to come. So I would do like the regular training and then I would go
Mm-hmm.
like the Tuesdays and Thursdays and do extra just beginners, like basics, like
Right.
day one basics, like bumps, head, like everything. And it really like
Roles and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, and it really stuck to me like, oh, repetition is like key because I got better. Like as like the more I did it, the more I got better. And I think I'm really grateful for that because now like my basics are like good. And after that, you can learn
Mm-hmm.
anything, like really. And that's what really people are looking at, like higher ups, people in WWE, AEW, like they're looking at the basics if you have those down. So I'm really grateful for that.
Is one thing I noticed too is how long did it take you to find that dance partner while at AEPW? Did it take time to really know your move sets to someone that you've already studied with during training?
At that time, Zach Taylor was in AAPW and he really helped a lot with my training. And that's who I would get in the ring before and after. Like, obviously, we have class where it's like, you go in with everyone. And then, like, anything you do before and after, like, I kind of would just gravitate towards Zach Taylor. And we would just like chain, move around, work on stuff. There was also like Manny Dominguez or Manny Domingo. I forgot his last name, but Manny. I think he
Yeah,
changed his name now. Actually, I'm trying to think,
I
but
think he did.
he is also really good. Usually, like the shorter people were really
Mm-hmm.
good to work with because they're like, oh, you could do this. You're short like me. You could do this. So like even JoJo, or Jay Sirius,
Mm-hmm.
Sprita. He has a lot of names, but him too. He's like one of those people. Like now, like he took me under his wing and he shows I like a lot of my move set is like JoJo is like based
Yeah,
off him because like I train with him and like I really like love his style and I think it also works with me and my style. So that's kind of the few people that from AAPW that I worked a lot with.
what was your style then? What would you describe like your move set while in training? How would you
Well,
describe
while I'm training, I try to do a lot of lucha in the
it?
beginning
Okay.
because I was like, I liked it and I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever. But then I started getting booked as a heel and that kind of slowly I was just more like a little bit more aggressive and like, just trying to be like as shitty as I can be. But I feel like in the beginning it was very lucha. That's kind of what I wanted to do, like health scissors, ranas. That's kind of what I was focused on.
As a heel, so it's more technical. It's more technical. It's more of like the pure wrestling old school style instead of being a high flyer. That's kind of like how your moveset gravitated as a heel compared to if you're figuring out your identity as as that wrestler over time.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think I'm more grounded now, more like less is more. I've learned
Yeah,
that. I know like Pops would say that too a lot. He was like less is more. And in the beginning I was just doing like whatever, like
everything.
yeah, whatever I wanted. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Let me do this next match. Oh, this is really cool." And then I realized like less is more and like even
Mm.
the crowd, like the more you interact with the crowd, like the better the match will be, which back then I wasn't. Like I was just tunnel vision and I didn't interact with the crowd at all.
The months in training that you've done and graduation happened, and I'm glad I got to see some graduation matches. And the one thing I noticed too is everyone is in it together, and seeing the environment that you're going through. Of course, you're wrestling. That's probably the main focus, but to see the people around you, from the guys who are like who are under you, or the graduates who are facing you, what was that environment like leading up to, say, when that final bell rings? What does that feel like, having those people around you in your graduation?
Oh man, there was so many emotions. I was looking forward to the graduation because I've like seen it, and like it's crazy. Like I've also seen some people not pass, like, so I
Oh,
was just like scared, like I was terrified. I was like, what if like I don't get through this? But that was like one of the most fun I've ever had because it was like
okay.
50 something minutes long, and I was not tired like halfway through. And so I was like, okay, this is going really good. Eventually got to a point where I think I like blacked out because I was just like
What?
so tired. And then they just
Okay,
like
okay.
the vets come at the end and they just like kind of beat you up. So
He put you through the ringer.
it was a lot of fun. I think I do remember like the last person who came in. It was Zach Taylor, and like
Okay.
because he was the one that like really trained me. Like, I mean, Pops did too, but like he
Yeah.
taught me all the other stuff. So I think I got just so emotional because I was like, damn, I actually like won. But I will say I don't remember too much because I was like a little like knocked out.
Adrenaline must have taken over.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, adrenaline is like the best energy drink. Like literally, like it just like it like you will not know what's happening, but adrenaline will keep you going. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
so proud of myself afterwards because I was like that. Like I've been waiting. You wait like a whole year. It's like technically a year. Mine, I
Mhm.
don't. I feel like it was a little bit longer just because COVID. It was like we had like 6 months off or something like that.
Oh, I
So
see.
because I literally like once COVID hit, it was like 6 months into my training or something like that, like six, seven. So we had a
Wow.
little break and then we came back and then I had my graduation. Um, so it might have been one of the fastest, but I can't remember because we had that little break. But yeah, it was one of the longest at the time. And yeah, I just was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, if I can do this, I can do anything. That's kind of like the like mentality you have afterwards. You're like, and
Mhm.
that's what Pops even said. If you can graduate, you can finish the gauntlet, you can do any match out there. And it's true. It's true. It really like boosts your confidence.
How I was curious because, like, with the pandemic, training was training must have been, I wouldn't say non-existent, but between the time when the lockdowns happened and the graduation match, what were you doing between that time?
Oh, I remember I was working out at the parks like a lot. I bought some like home gym equipment, but it
Mhm.
was mostly like just running like at the parks, trying to keep my cardio up because that's the main thing. You can't really bump or practice bumping, but like as long as you keep the cardio, like burpees, um, I think I did running like sprints. I got back into like I used to play soccer growing up, and I kind of got back into that for a little bit, but just anything to keep
Mhm.
my cardio up. That's what I was just trying to do because I was like, I know when I get back, like cardio is gonna be, I don't know if I can curse, but it's gonna be like shit. So I was just trying to
Yeah.
keep that up.
It's just conditioning. That's what it means, because you have the strength of doing all the fireman's carries, all the high risk moves that you've done, but conditioning is kind of like, how long can you keep up? Because you can do DDT and you're like dead by the time you're like, you pull a DDT. It's like, all right, I'm tired. What's next? Like, it
Yeah.
helps to keep your endurance
Yeah, and
up.
that's really what my main focus was, like conditioning, like the closest thing I found was like burpees because it's like a drop down and then you just like jump from it. So like a leapfrog,
Yeah.
just kind of doing like that over and over. I do have like some videos of like me doing it with like my friend. I was like, okay, here, just hop over and then I'll like just go under me. And like we would just do that at like the park and stuff. I remember I would like roll around with her in like her apartment. Like she didn't have like she had a lot of room. So like I was just like, okay, just be like a body. I'm gonna just do stuff to you. I'm gonna just chain with you. I'm gonna just like she's like I'm like just be loose. Like I would just practice it with her because
Yeah,
I
just
was
like
like, there's
fill.
no one else.
You're filling in my spot. Just move that over.
Literally. And I did also practice a lot of promos at the time. There was like promo tournaments because, wrestling wasn't going around. So I was just like Gnostico had like a promo tournament and I was just sending in promos and like yeah, I was just really practicing everything else that like I couldn't in the ring.
and and for me to say that I'm pushing the philosophy and what we're doing here, that is still alive, and I'm fighting to keep it alive, because my guys can still go out there and they can wrestle with the best of them.
Exactly.
And they can kick ass and they can entertain and they can do it all. And I'm confident. And when I go watch a show somewhere and I'm watching them, I'm sitting in the audience like a fan. They know I'm the number one fan. I'm all these guys' number one fan. I'm cheering for even my girls. Even when I go watch Verd or I see Jazmine Allure or I see Lady Bird, I go sit in the crowd and I'm watching them and I'm rooting them on like I was a fan, because in my heart I'm still a fan. Even though I was their coach, I'm still their fan.
So that was Pops. Stars Align. We had an interview, but for Pops to say that when you get out of APW's doors and you do wind up in Austin, and he's there being in the stands, what was it like having him as one of those supports that you are in a match and he's there waiting to root you?
It's nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna
What?
I always because I don't want to let him down. Like I feel like he's like taught me a lot and I just don't want to like go out there and like yeah, like mess up or something. So it's nerve-wracking, but I do love the support and I love that like he says, he's our number one fan. He was just there at the last New Texas show and it was
That's
so
where I got
good
that
to see
from.
him. Yeah, and he was there in the crowd, so that was really cool to see. And I haven't seen him in a while, so it was really, really like amazing to see him and see him supporting us and yeah, it's super cool. But I was nervous.
Is it just because like he's taught you so much and you're going out there, there's probably a tiny critique. Hopefully it's not like something major, but like to have that feedback, did that lead to your nerves when you do see him in a show?
Yeah, just anybody too, like who has helped me like along the way, like Thunder, Jazz, like AJ, Lee, like anyone who has helped me get to where I'm at or like where I'm doing, like I'm always gonna feel some type of nervous because I don't want to let them down. I mean, I also
Right.
like I just get nervous. They say if you're not nervous before your match, you don't love it. So like I just get nervous because I don't want to mess up out there and or stuff like that. I have like really bad anxiety. But yeah, so just
Oh,
anybody
okay.
who has like helped me along the way, I just never want to let them down. So I get nervous for anyone who's helped me.
I see. And it's part of it too. It's like you want to set the bar high because oftentimes, and we're gonna delve into working with Jazz, working with Thunder in Mission Pro. You have this foundation with Pops and you've done your grind going out in the road and going into something different, especially in Mission Pro. How much of that foundation that Pops laid out that gets built up upon to what Thunder, to what Jazz, and to what Rodney Mack is doing over in Dog Pound and later on in Mission?
Yeah, so Jazz was very close with Papa Don. So
Okay.
she would come over to like our school and do like seminars and stuff like that. So they have a very similar style. It's a lot like,
Oh,
basics, have your basics down, less is more, old school. So what Jazz just helped me was just like what I already know, just take it up a notch and more like
okay.
TV style. It was so cool to learn from like Jazz and Thunder Rosa, because Jazz was like that bitch. Like she was
Mm-hmm.
killing in the WWE. She was like the women's champion. And then Thunder Rosa was like in AEW killing it and in NWA. She was like NWA women's champion at the time. So it's really different also as a female to learn from another female because they've been in that
Right.
locker room. They've, been in that ring with other females and it's just different. So it was so cool to like be able to learn from both of them.
What's the I'm sure there's advice that are good. What's like the common thread, whether it's with Thunder or with Jazz? What was like the mainstay wisdom that you got from them?
Ooh, there's like a lot of things. Thunder Rosa was just such a like businesswoman. Like as a
Okay.
whole, she had her promotion, she had like her merchandise that would sell so well, but she was also like wrestling full time. I think one of the like I'm trying to think like something that like really stood out to me because there's so many. It's so crazy. Like jazz in itself, like it was so crazy to learn from female wrestlers because they know a lot about like the little stuff that you probably wouldn't think of, like the gear, like what you wear, like under your
Really?
gear, over your gear, like where to get your gear, how to order your gear, like stuff like that. Like you like because you're so focused about the wrestling, but you also like need to focus about everything, be marketable. That was one thing Thunder said, be marketable. So you have to worry about like not just wrestling, but your promos, your look, your
Mm-hmm.
makeup, your gear. Always make sure you're ready for TV, like have TV ready gear. So it's just like Pops would taught me like the basics of wrestling and wrestling in itself, but they really like took it to another level. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna be on TV, so get a tan, you know, get like wear
Oh,
makeup, wear
wow.
lashes. So the stuff that you wouldn't really get from a guy because like they don't really know that stuff. I remember my first AEW like match. I did not tan, so I looked like a ghost out there. And
Okay.
and Jazz was like, the next time you go to AEW, you're tanning. So that was stuff, like all the little stuff that you really don't think about, but they're so knowledgeable because they've been on TV and they've
Oh.
been there. So that was really what I got from them.
So basically, like from where Pops was doing, you know your moves, you know your ins and outs of how a match is run. With Thunder and with Jazz, it's the presentation, it's the actual business aspect of the
Mm-hmm.
wrestling business. That's what built up from where Pops left off, basically. Because I think, like, because of course you've been all over the place, which is kind of that's the one thing I was looking through a lot of the matches that you've been through. Like, of course, you were still in school within that the actual like college, but to balance your life on the road and anything that you've done in your undergrad, like how did you like really juggle between those two, and you're chasing your dream but at the same time there's undergrad that you want to finish down the line?
Well, like it's really hard. And I think about it, I'm like, how did I do it? But I really had like no social life. And I think that's what really helped. Like I just
So
like
you're a turtle. You're a turtle.
I really was. Like, I
Okay.
did not like go out. I did not drink. I remember I would get invited to like these parties in college, and I was like, I can't because I have to train tomorrow or I have to like leave out of town. I was like signed to WoW for some part of it.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like I was Monday through Thursday and then fly out because I had to like do WoW tapings or WoW trainings and then fly in Monday morning and go straight to class. And like
Mm,
sometimes like it was so hard to deal with. And like I really didn't have like the full college experience, like as in like going
right.
to parties, like really like being in like
You were the buck.
clubs or
You
any
were hitting the bucks.
yeah, everybody they would like be like, okay, we're going out after. And I'm like, oh, I wish, but I have training after, so I
Mm,
can't. Like, I was just really focused. Like, wrestling was my priority. Like, that was number one, and then everything else came after that. School obviously was like like up there. But I even remember I didn't see my parents because my parents live in Mexico. My family lives in Mexico. I didn't see
I
them
see.
for like. I remember there would be times like COVID. I didn't see them that whole year or a year and a half. Like
I see.
I would miss Christmases. My debut, my wrestling debut, everybody went out of town and it was only like five of us who really stayed. And I did not
Mm.
get to go to Christmas or New Year's for like go to my family for that because my debut was January 4th. So I was like, I gotta
Oh,
mentally prepare and train for this. I miss Christmases, birthdays, Mother's Days, Father's Days, like whenever they would be like, when are you coming? I'm like, when I'm not busy or booked. And
yeah.
it was so hard. Like And then now, like, I graduated last year, and I'm like so grateful that like I've been there for Father's Day. I was there for Mother's Day. I was there for my mom's
Yeah.
birthday. I was there like in the summer. Like, I could be there longer, and it was just like, but really, like, what I had to do was lock in the whole time I was in school and wrestling,
Yeah.
because like, other than that, like, I really couldn't do anything else. But it was good. It was worth it at the end. um
Yeah.
I like, I'm get to be with my family a lot more now. I graduated,
Yeah.
so I have more time, but that's really what I did. I just locked in and made those two my priority.
Graduating from AEPW to now graduating in Texas State, to have these two in your manual in your life, like how does it feel to know that I know my worth as a wrestler, but now I can take my talents in college to go out into the outside world? It could be wrestling, it could be something that you'll find a career down the line with the undergrad degrees that you've had.
So I like, wrestling has always been my priority. So when I was in school, I remember like business, I was like, I got my associates in that, but I was like, what really could I like switch and like change my degree to that would help me in wrestling, because this is what I want to do.
Right.
So I was like, okay, PR. I remember I like was talking to my advisor, and I was like, oh, I just want, like, I do wrestling. So what would help with that? Like, and they're like, advertising. I was like, okay, that. And they're like, well,
Yeah.
wait, here's another
Yep.
one. PR, it's like social media,
Yep.
advertising, financial, communications. It's like everything in one. And they're like, this would help your career. And I was like, that's
Mhm.
perfect. That's what I'm gonna do. And once I switched over to PR, literally, like, it was so much easier. Everything was
Really?
so much easier. I actually like felt like I wanted to go to school even more, because I was like, this just like makes sense, and also like it translates to wrestling, because I remember like
Hmm.
I had a social media class and how to like grow your social media, and I was like, oh, this is like so good. This is what I need. Then we had like PR training, how to like do
Yeah.
interviews, or how to like, you know, manage a situation. So like if I ever get canceled, which I won't, but if I do, I will know how to manage it. So it was so cool to like learn that aspect and like kind of use it into wrestling. Hopefully I don't ever get to use the cancel situation, but if it does happen, I know what to do.
There you go. Because I think you mentioned WoW too. I think that was probably, and again, we're going to go to mentors again. So you had Pops, you had Jazz, you have Thunder. Now EG Lee kind of came into that picture,
Yeah.
and to further your experience in TV, because Jazz has one aspect of TV wrestling, and I've seen that back in San Antonio, just watching the Dog Pound tapings down the line, and with Mission Pro. What is that level of TV tapings that only WoW has that builds you up from where you left off in Mission Pro or in Dog Pound at the time?
WoW is like a whole, it's a whole different world.
Okay.
Because half of them are wrestlers and half of them are actresses. So you're
Okay.
working with people who don't really know a lot of wrestling. They probably never watched it. Um, they train,
Like
but it's
wrestling
still
school. That's what
very,
it sounds like.
yes, but we're on TV.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Okay.
So that's
Good.
a, so it's different, like, yes, like training, but at least like on the indies when you train like at AAPW, a lot of them know what wrestling is, or they've watched it.
Okay.
I've had a couple conversations with some WoW girls, and it was like they were just doing a casting, and they're like looking for jobs and like acting, and they just ended up in WoW, which they ended up loving it, and like
Oh,
some of them are
okay.
like really, good. But yeah, so you're really like leading a lot. You have to be a leader in there. You have to like really know how to work with people who aren't wrestlers. It's really different, but it's also like such a learning experience, because like you need to be able to learn. You need to be able to like lead anyone or like wrestle anyone.
I
So
see.
that was a lot of fun. A lot of those girls down there, they're like one of my best friends like ever. So it was really fun to work with them. And also, they give you a character. It's like you don't really get to choose what you want to be. You don't really get to like,
Oh,
you're like, you show up and they're like, you're this, and you have to make it work. And that's also like such a learning experience, because like on the indies, it's like you get to be whatever you want to be, times 10.
Right.
But it's like you have full creative control for the most part. Where on WoW, like you really don't. But it's also like that's TV. You
Right.
don't always get to choose what you want to be, what you want to be named. My name was like Jennifer Flores.
Oh.
Yeah, like Gen Z.
Okay.
So they changed my name, and luckily, like the character didn't change too much, because I
Right.
remember coming in and I was telling AJ like, "Oh, I'm not really like super character," and she's like, "It's okay. You don't have to be. You can just be really good at wrestling." And my gimmick there was I was just a college student, a Gen Z college student,
Wow.
which literally
Wow.
is me. But
This is full circle.
it literally was me because I was Gen Z. I am Gen Z.
Yeah.
And I was a college student. And they would put that over on commentary like she just landed and she had school this morning and she just landed and she's having a match, which was true for them. Like I would literally
Yeah.
land and they're like, you have 3 matches. And I would just like I'll quickly like get into it. But they also trusted me in that, they wouldn't have let other people do that. They didn't have that trust. But they were like, okay, she's a worker, she can wrestle,
Right.
she's been doing both for like 2 years at this point. So we trust her. So I would come in, do my 3 matches, do another 3 matches for the next 2 days, and then leave right
Uh-huh.
after. So like I was really grateful that AJ also was there to help me out. She really was like one of the people that was in charge of my character and helping me with, like promos and stuff like that and just like critiques of like my matches. She like even like kind of designed my gear and stuff and like worked on the
Mm.
like song and like the name and stuff like that. So she was very helpful throughout that whole process, which I'm so glad because I was like 2 years in, I didn't really like know how the TV, like yes, I had done like AEW and stuff, but it's like different when
Hmm.
you're like signed and you're like, here's like this is what you need to do, and da da da. So it was really cool to have her there.
Because I think one thing that I noticed too is we are going to ask her return. And being someone who's on that one side with WoW and seeing her return in more than a decade, and you've had experience with her talking, whether it's learning how to do learning to get feedback during your time at WoW. What was it like seeing the other side of the picture when she suddenly showed out in that SmackDown?
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. And like nowadays there's a lot of AI out there. I was like, is this AI? Am I falling for this? No, like seriously, like sometimes I'm
Yeah, no,
scrolling.
that's what it is. That was
So
my reaction was like, wait a second, it's like it's not even it's CG. I'm like, it's probably someone imposed in EJ's gear, and it's like, all right, it's probably CG. No, but that's the actual person.
but I'm so like I was so happy because like she looks great. Like she like after
Yes.
that I went to the gym and did my ab workouts and whatever. Like she looks great and she killed her match too. And just seeing her blow up the internet, like I was so happy. I was also like so glad that she was back because like even at WoW, I would be like, so hey, are you gonna like come back? Like, hey, like, you know,
Lightly
what's
tease, like slightly tease.
yeah, so I was so excited for her. I'm so happy that everything went so well and that she just like blew up on the internet, of course.
Because like I think when I was watching, I was like, wow, okay, that's like a comeback I never expected too. Because when I saw
Yeah.
it on social, I was like, there's no way. But for her to be in the tag match with CM Punk, and it's like it's been a while since seeing her in the ring. So like seeing her promo, especially with that mental health awareness promo, it's like you see more of her on the mic, but she can still do stuff in the ring. Like even being out of practice for more than a decade, she can still kill it. Well, she's out now, but I don't know when she's going to come back. But within the time that she's done her time in the ring at WrestlePalooza, you're like, she still got it.
Oh, of course. And I met her out heels when I was her stunt double.
Oh,
Yes. And
really?
yes, so
Do
that's how
tell, do tell.
so I was her stunt double, which was really cool because I got to wear like the knee-high Converse. I wish I would have
Right.
gone to keep them, but It's okay. So she was on that show. I didn't know.
You could have bought them in a concourse. I was like, it's still mine now.
But it was so cool to work with her there. I didn't know that's what I was gonna be. Like I literally like they're like, oh, you fit the description of somebody. Um, you should come in and do like sun double work. And I was like, sure, like I've never done it,
Yeah.
but it was like wrestling related. So I was like, okay, yeah. And then I get there and it's her. And I was like, y'all could have given
Excuse
me a
me.
heads up. Like I was like speechless too. I was like, I remember like talking to her and I was like shaking. I was
Okay.
but we got to get in the ring and she like literally like seemed like she never like stopped wrestling. It was like one of the
Really?
easiest jobs ever because she did like all her stunts.
Yeah.
Like she like
Of course.
like it was like so easy. Obviously they had me there for like the minor stuff like the background shots or other stuff, but she did like everything. Like and it was so easy.
You're just spaced. You're just like,
They're like, okay, they're like, we'll call you when we need you, like 5 hours later or something. Like, but it
aw.
was so cool. It was no,
Yeah.
it was so cool, like watching her do that, watching her act too, being in that environment because I'd never even been on a TV set before. So just being in
Mhm.
that environment, CM Punk was also there. Like she was there. So many other great wrestlers were there, and even in like training, like we had like this gym, and I don't know if I can say, but we had like a gym with like
Session. Let's do session. Let's just keep it that way.
but there was like a ring and I would just be there and like to be in the ring with like a lot of great wrestlers was so incredible and her too. So it was such an amazing experience. She's one of the
Yeah.
nicest people ever that I've ever met. Like people would say like, oh, like don't meet your idols, you never know. But I was like, she's literally so nice. Like one of the nicest
Right.
people ever.
Yeah, because I think, and we're gonna talk about that too. Like every time that you see AJ Lee or Mendez, whether it's a WoW taping or if you're in the being on set, does she ever impart advice whenever there's something that needs to be fixed, or was that something that you're like very attentive when she does stuff?
So I would always like, I'm always very like, I ask a lot of like
Okay.
questions. I'm always like, hey AJ, like, did you see anything? Hey, what do you think about that? And she's always like, she loves to give back. So she's like, gives me her honest critiques. I remember like I don't know if you watched the show, but at her match on heels, we do like a Spanish fly off the top rope once, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
And so then we do it and like they yell cut and I look at her just to see, right? And she's like, good job, like are you okay? Like
Okay.
she is such a mom too. Like
Okay.
she's like, are you okay, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, like da, da, da. Or like I remember in training she would always be like, wear your elbow pads, remember I have ugly elbows because I didn't wear elbow pads. And I
Right.
like she was at training watching at WoW and my elbow bled because
Oh.
I did not wear elbow
Oh.
pads. And she's like, I remember like looking at her and she's like, what did I tell you? And she's over here like putting a band-aid on me
Yeah.
and she's like,
Oh
where
my
you
god.
she is such a mom, but she's so
Oh
amazing. She
my
always
god.
one thing about her, she always made sure that I felt safe and
Okay.
I felt good at WoW, or in general, but like especially specifically like WoW because it was like my first contract. She just always
Right.
made sure that I was good, I was safe. She's like, "How are you feeling? How was training?" Like it. She always made sure I was doing good and feeling good there, which is so amazing. Like in this
Mhm.
business, like you want to feel safe in a locker room and like good. So the fact that she always would check up on me, that was really cool.
And she's looking out for you. I mean, at the end of the day, like safety is probably the most important thing, whether you're in the indies or all the way up to the bigger promotions. You got to make sure they're not hurt at the end of the day.
Yes, she would. I remember I would be like, "Oh yeah, I just did like a cutter off the like ring to the outside with like Holodead at Mission." I remember like I showed her like clips of the match and she was like, "Really? You did that?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Was it worth it?" I was like, "Yeah." Like she was just like always like she's like, don't take crazy bumps. Like you don't need to do all that stuff. And like she was just looking out. And like obviously, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, the more you're in the business, the more you realize like, yes, you like listen to them. I mean, I always did listen to AJ, but like it makes more sense.
Is I think because you have your titles too. We're finally going to the wrestling. We talked so much, and then suddenly we're on your title fronts. Hurricane Pro, Ladies Night Out, and Rhodes. Um, Out of all these titles, and we'll do what are some common themes that you had with these title runs that you have with those three, with Hurricane Pro, with title match, and with Rhodes.
Ooh, that's a good question. I just won the roads, so I feel like I've only defended it
Okay.
once.
Okay.
But with the other ones, it's really cool to like defend it all over the place because I've defended them in North Carolina, in Vegas, and
Right.
like
Oh,
def
that's right. You were in Mania. That's right. You were in Mania
yeah,
that
New
time.
York.
Right.
Um, so honestly, with these belts specifically, like that differ from the ones I've had in the past, is like I'm able to do more with them, like travel more with them. Like with the Rhodes
Okay.
one, like it has more exposure. So I'm able to like really like focus as it like just trying to make it bigger. Like in my matches, I really give it like
Yeah.
my 110% because you don't know who's watching, you know, the Rhodes Wrestling Association. And then also with like my Ladies Night Out and Hurricane, I'm defending those all over the US. So it's like I there's really
Oh, I
more
see.
pressure. And I think that's
I
like
see.
the common thing with all of them. There's more pressure and you want to like make sure you give those titles more credibility than they already do and just keep that
Mm,
going because like they've had past champions that like Vert, you know, I want to make sure like I'm doing like the belt justice also for her because she's also someone I look up
yeah.
to. And the ladies' night out, you know, Janai had it, Eva Elise had it. So it's these great names. I just want to make sure I'm like continuing the legacy that these people left off.
And you want to make sure that if it does change hands, it's someone like yourself that you are worthy to take that spot when it does change hands, whether it's in Rhodes or in Hurricane or in title match. Like you want to make sure that when that spot lands to you, you've earned that spot to change hands with those titles.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I'm excited for to see what else I do with the championships because I'm defending the ladies' night out this weekend in LA, which will be a little,
I think Rhodes is kind of special too because I think his you've had pictures with Dustin Rhodes, and of course Dustin Rhodes being in AEW, and you've had so many opportunities that you've had. And what was that like being part of the roster with the Rhodes Wrestling Association? When you even just doing the handshake for now before we even delve into the title.
man, I mean, just working with Dustin is incredible because I watched him on TV.
Hmm.
He also like
Everyone did. Everyone.
yeah, but he also like was one of the first people I've met at AEW. I was so new, like I wasn't even a year in, and that's like not even like I made my debut January 4th of 2020, and then I was at wrestling for AEW in December. But like you have to consider there was like a 6 month break, right? Because of COVID. So like
Right.
I had maybe like 10 matches, and I was like working in that like big stage, you know, everyone's watching. Um, and Dustin was really like helpful, but also super nice, super humble. And this is
Yeah.
someone who I grew up watching, and so to have someone like him really helped me out. And not even that, but like take me under his wing and be like, hey, I'm opening up a school in Austin. Like come in, like come train, you know. And
Mm.
that was so cool. So it's like also full circle moment that, you know, he trusts me enough to like hold his belt and, you know,
Wow.
work for him and just be there and learn from him. So honestly, it's a very incredible experience. I love him so much. He's like a father figure in this business to me.
Mhm.
Um, honestly, like I can't say enough good words. Like there's not enough good words for him because he's just so incredible.
You had your time in CMLL, and it's a broken record with the interviews that you have lately with that. But to have to be part of CML, and it's in Arena, Mexico. Out of all the places in Mexico,
Mhm.
you went for the big one, and to have the trust that the higher ups are like, hey, we'll give you a match, we'll work on here. What was that like from that kid who watched that one show at 19 to now being part of the action within CMLL?
Oh my God, CMLL. So there's two times that I've cried in this business, like after a match.
Okay.
And the first one was WWE main event against Tamina, WWE.
Mhm.
The second one was CMLL because I really worked so hard to get that opportunity. Like, I don't think I talk about it enough, but like, I was in the crowd, right? I did like 6 months into training, I did a CMLL seminar where they choose someone to like go to CMLL. And I was so like new. Pops was like, you're really new. You haven't even had a match. You're like 5, 6 months in. Like, I think it was like less than that, honestly. He's like, you can go, but you're still very new. And I was like so excited because I really wanted to do it. Obviously, I didn't
Right.
get chosen. I was so new, but I was like, next year, hopefully, like I'll get chosen. Next year was like COVID and then they
Yeah.
like, I would always like talk to like people there and I was like, how can I get in? How can I do this? Da, da, da. And they're like, oh, like your time will come. And then last year, I was like, okay, like, hey guys, like I really want to be a part of it. And they're like, okay, well, go knock on the door and talk to them.
Mm.
Like, we're like, here you go. And so I go, I have like a meeting with them. They're like, where's your resume? And I was like, uh, I can email it to you.
So close, so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. I was like, I can email it to you. And they're like, we wanted a physical copy. And I had never, like,
Oh, it's even worse.
no one has ever asked me for a physical copy. It's always like email, like send me your matches, da, da, da. No one has asked me for like a physical. So I show up the week after, knocking on the door again, and you have
Yeah.
to wait because like you're not just. It's like they're higher up, so you have to wait in a
Yeah.
room with other wrestlers who are signed or want to get on the show because they want to talk to higher ups for like storylines or whatever. So I'm there waiting. I wait like an hour. And then I go up there and I have this folder with all the 8x10s, the resume, and everything, right? And then like they're looking at it, they're like, okay, you have training tomorrow. Be here at 10 a.m. And I'm like, yes,
Okay.
sir. I did not realize that like it's so hard to breathe in there because of the high like altitude that
Elevation.
Mexico City's,
Yeah.
yeah, elevation. But I do the thing and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna get this. Like I literally felt like I was like not didn't do my best, but I did try my very best. I tried the best I could. But I was like, oh, I don't know. And they're like, okay, we'll let you know. I was like, you know what? I was like, I did my best. I was like, well, we'll see what happens here.
Hmm.
So I go back home to Austin. I come back home. I didn't hear from them. And then literally they call me a Friday and they're like,
Okay.
"You're making your debut in Arena Mexico this Sunday." I mean, I was like,
Wait.
"Okay," and I was like booked like the day before. I was like in New Orleans and had to fly straight to Mexico after that. So I was like,
Wow.
so I made it. I had the match. It was one of my favorite matches. My whole family was there. Just the fact that like my parents got to see me wrestle in there, and like
Yeah.
they had watched wrestling there. I think I had like 15 plus family members. And I remember I'm like so tunnel vision too because I was like so nervous. I didn't want to like, it was my debut. I didn't want to mess anything up, my anxiety.
The bar
But
is high for yourself.
yeah, and like I've been waiting for this moment for like 5 years at this point, 4 or 5 years. And I just remember hearing my family chant my name
Oh
and
wow, that's cool.
just hearing them throughout the whole match. I really wasn't trying to like look at them because I feel like even like me looking at my mom, I would be nervous. So I just didn't really
You
want to
feel
look
their
at them. But I just
presence.
remember, yeah, I just felt their presence, heard them. And then after my
Hmm.
match, I do look up and they have these like posters and banners and like all this stuff.
Oh.
So it was such an emotional day and like such like and like that was a roller coaster in itself because I really like wanted it so bad that I was like going to the meetings every week, trying to go to training, like hoping for an opportunity to be in there. And I thought a lot of times it was just gonna be like, no. I was like, okay, they're probably not gonna want me. But no, they really trusted me and to have my debut there. So that was really awesome.
Because I was thinking too, because I think if they do have more appearances, and that's what I was thinking from that debut, and they're gonna say, hey, if we do a show in in Monterey, they have some shows in Monterey, or if they have a show in Jalisco, if they have these opportunities, will you take them if that ever shows up with CML?
Oh yeah, yeah. So honestly, so there's a lot of people in charge. I don't even think my debut was supposed to be at in Mexico, the first one. There was like a lot of dates that they
I
wanted
see.
me for. Um, but I can't remember
You went
what
for the big one.
happened, but well, honestly, it wasn't like up to me. I can't remember what happened, but that one ended up being, and then there was a couple more dates after that, but I couldn't do it for other reasons, not
I
just
see.
like that. But yeah, we did like have a conversation afterwards of me doing more stuff with them, more long term, because they kind of were like, hey, we have 6 shows a week. So like if you would work for us, it would
Oh,
it, it would be one of those where I would have to like move down there just
I
so
see.
like they could, if they wanted to build me, they would have enough time, because they have 6 shows a week. They have like interviews, they have like sit down interviews, they have like podcasts, and they just have like a lot of stuff going on that you have to be in town. I would love to do like a little tour with them, but it would just be like we had to talk about it. We haven't really spoke too much about it, but yes.
Man, we're close to wrapping up. I don't even know what time it was. Anyways, but 2025 is a thing. And we are now, wow, we are in October. And with the year wrapping up, yeah, what are you looking forward to now the year's almost at the tail end?
Man, so WrestleCade, I am
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to that because that's when Ladies Night Outs have their show. So they run once a year, and I do have the Ladies Night Out Championship, and I just want to make sure that like it's been a full year that I've been their champion, and
Mm-hmm.
I just want to like have a good match, make sure that I'm doing it justice. So I'm defending it this weekend, and also I have a couple more defenses. I mean, obviously before that, I have a couple more defenses. I just want to make sure, like, before the year ends of me being
Mm-hmm.
champion, that I'm so proud of what I've done with this belt because of the
Mm-hmm.
people who come before me.
Spark, Joshi became a thing, and facing B Priestley, she's Bree Davenport, formerly known as, but to be part of Joshi Wrestling, even if it's at this level with Spark, what was it like going from the Luchas to the old school to now Joshi?
Man, that was a match that really meant a lot for me because at that time I was like, man, like I kind of felt like lost with like who I was in wrestling, like what my character was gonna be, like just kind
Mm,
of like a little bit of self-doubt. And B just like lit something up in me. Like after that match, I just was more motivated than
mm,
ever. I think I needed someone like her to like really like, push me and like, oh, I can still like, I can hang with like the best. And she's one of the greatest like wrestlers. Like she's so good, but she's also so, so nice. So I love like being in the ring with people who will push me. Like even like, like
I see.
CMLL, like those girls, like I'm not like I've done some lucha, but their style is like different too. And like I love that
Yeah.
yeah, I love that they like pushed me and like B, who pushes me. And there's like a couple people in wrestling who like they just push you and it makes like wrestling more exciting. So to have that match with B, I was so happy.
Because in what way did she just really like push you in terms of how like technicals? Like what were some of those specific ways that be pushed you during that match over at Spark?
I think like just uh so I want to say like psychology too, but
Oh,
not
okay.
just that, but they're like Joshi's like they're like snug. So they were like really be
Okay.
like aggressive in this match. So that literally
I
was
see.
like, okay, let me. let me be aggressive in this match. And I love that we just matched each other's aggressiveness.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool because I don't really get to do that with a lot of girls, but to be able to do that with her and then like learn her psychology and how she sets up a match is really cool.
With this, and picture yourself as an adolescent version of Jazmine Allure. If she hung out with you for a day with the current life that you've lived, both in wrestling, both in real life, what would that younger version of you feel like hanging out with her?
I feel like she would be so proud.
Okay.
She like had so many dreams and it was like wrestling was always in the back of her mind, but
Mhm.
I don't think she fully knew what she wanted to do, but all the little dreams she had, like modeling, acting, being in like a sport, all that stuff is like wrestling. But she just didn't figure it out that that's what she wanted to do. So I think
I see.
she would be like, wow, you're doing everything that
You're watching
I
TV
want to do.
wrestling.
Yeah.
You had a stint in WWE for a match, or seeing AEW dark matches. Like, she would have been in awe seeing what you've already done in your
Yeah.
career.
Especially because like my mom still has like the SmackDown tickets when she took us. So knowing like,
Oh,
oh, you were able to be on SmackDown, like a show that I attended
yeah.
as a little kid, like, oh, and I even like I don't it's like on like a personal Facebook page, but like I had posted when I was 17. I was like because I worked at Whataburger. I used to work there. So I was like I went to a WWE show and it's like a picture at the arena in San Antonio and it says, well, if I didn't work at Whataburger, I'd probably be a wrestler. And then
Mm,
3 years later, I wrestled in that arena for a main event in that same arena, but she didn't know that. So just like I feel like she would just be like, you're so cool, I'm so proud of you.
yeah.
And like just realize that like everything's worth it, like all the sacrifices. I sacrificed being with my family. I moved out at a young age because I had all these dreams and goals and it all was worth it at the end.